am a teacher in an elementary school, and a lot of our professional development is on racism because our school is very diverse in that population. And one of the professional development we had was on diverse books and the lack of diverse books. Mm-hmm. So basically the statistics they gave us was that, this is from 2018, that 50% of all children's books that are published are based on characters who are white. So 50% white, 27% are animals or other, things besides people. 10% is based on blacks, 7% on Asian Pacific or Asian people, 5% on Latinos, and then 1% on American Indians. And how this is an example of systemic racism, and it's very hard to find diverse books for the classroom, and how that is devastating to some of these kids because they're not represented in books. And even if you can find them, they're much more expensive, and so we don't always get them in our classroom, and this is potentially, a downfall. And I said, well, is it because that there's just not, authors that are diverse writing? And they said, no, there are plenty of diverse writers, they're just not being published. So that I'm just curious as to what you think. What the data
Mary,
is
my first thought, Mary, is who sat around and added them all up like that? I mean, that's just amazing to me.
Right?
That's stunning to me.
Yes, so it was the website, because I looked at where they found this. It was from the statistics compiled by the Cooperative Children's Book Center, School of Education, University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Wow. Well, Mary, I guess my first reaction to this is, do you remember Of Mice and Men, written by John Steinbeck?
Yes.
There was a 2-page description by a character in the book named Crooks. Crooks was a stable hand. He was black, and he had a little area of this stable, Mary, that was his own area. Had a little thing all set up, a little table set up, a little candle set up, some pictures set up. It was his space. He was the only black guy there, and some white guy comes in and trashes his space, and sets up in Crooks's space. And Mary, for 2 pages, John Steinbeck described the pain this black man felt as acutely as anything I've ever read by any black writer. Now, what does this tell you? What it tells you is a good book is a good book. A good character is a good character. Huckleberry Finn had all sorts of references and N-words in it, but it was about a bondage between a young black boy and a young white, and a black man and a young white boy. And it was a wonderful story. How that's become racist is beyond me. Mary, the guy that wrote Moonstruck, and also wrote a play called The Italian-American Reconciliation, was a guy named John Patrick Shanley, who was Irish-American. He grew up in New York around Italian-Americans, and he was fascinated how Italians, in his opinion, cared about their dress. They wore cologne. They combed their hair. He said, we didn't care anything about that. So he was so fascinated with the Italian culture, he began writing about it in a way far more sensitively, and I think with greater scrutiny than an Italian-American would, because he's on the outside. So, how did we survive, Mary? I doubt that 50% of the characters you read were female when you grew up. How did you survive? How did I survive? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's true. And it's just sad that, there's not a whole lot of room to express what you think or even what you remember from growing up, and that you turned out just fine. And if that was what you were passionate about and you wanted to do something to change that, then you did. And you just, instead of the victim mentality, where they can't because, yeah.
Mary, the other point I want to make is presumably all of this is to make sure the kids have good self-esteem. As I've said on my program, going back over decades, black kids have higher self-esteem than white kids. Black girls have higher self-esteem than white girls. Black boys have way higher self-esteem than Asian boys and Asian girls. So if this is all about making sure that black boys and black girls have self-esteem, mission accomplished. I mean, honestly.
True. And I think a lot of it, goes back to why aren't they testing well? And, maybe because they're not represented.
That's right. Why aren't we concerned about
the continual cycle?
Right, Mary. Why aren't we concerned about the fact that 85% of black kids in California cannot read at state levels of proficiency? And we're talking about the failure, the lack of diversity of characters of color in elementary school books, and these kids can't even read? Honestly, Mary.
It's true. I know.
Mary, God bless you. You're in the trenches. God bless you, Mary.
Thank you so much.